it is the start of something hopefully awesome. We are actually going to attempt to pull this engine out ourselves and put a new one in. I managed to find a wreck with a 1HDT in it. It's in very, very average condition, to say the least. It's been just trashed by the looks of it. It's got dents down the whole side of it. It's been sitting outside and hadn't even been turned on for 6 years. We went and looked at it the other night and it just turned on as if it was in the driveway. It didn't even crank. And that's a 6-year-old diesel, not even doing anything to it. We just put the battery up to it and that was it. So, managed to score that for a pretty good price. So, the idea is we pull this out, even though this is, apart from it not working properly with the head gasket issue, this has a lot of expensive, good parts in it, and we're going to put one in that we don't know anything about, that sort of doesn't look that nice, but it works. And hopefully it works good, is the plan. This has been dragging out for a super long time. It's been ridiculous. To start with, it was me trying to save up money because I didn't want to go into a full sort of engine rebuild sort of situation with no money. And then it sort of come down to, at the end of it all, it's just, I've just been getting stuffed around by mechanics and people saying that they'll do it, oh, I can't do it until this month, and then that month comes around like, oh, 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks, and next thing you know, it's been like 5 months. So I'm not really done a heap of mechanic stuff before. The only thing that's given me a little bit of confidence is if I get stuck, Brad's going to give me a chop out, which is awesome of him. But my plan is hopefully just to get this car like stripped down so we can pull it to a point where we can pull the engine out, and then obviously still pick up the other one, bring it in the shed, sit next to it, do the same thing, and then hopefully we can just pull it out. We're going to swap all the bolt-ons over, so like my turbo, my fuel pump, like alternator, starter motor, anything that bolts to that engine is brand new and it's good quality stuff. I didn't skimp on anything on that. So we're going to swap all the good parts across and basically just use the solid just engine part and hopefully not pull it apart. We might do the bottom end bearings, that's sort of up for discussion. Brad reckons we should do that. I'm super scared of pulling apart Toyota engines now and letting all the Toyota magic fall out. Like I said, I don't have much experience in any of this. I don't, like for instance, the first thing I'm going to do is pull all the coolant out of the radiator and engine. I know that there's some way of doing it on the block because I've seen it before on a YouTube video. I can't figure out where that is or anything, so I'm just going to pull it out the front of the shed and I'm just going to pull the hose off the bottom of the radiator because it doesn't have any drain plugs or anything. Coolant's going to go everywhere and I'm going to back it back into the shed and start pulling things apart, pull the batteries out. I don't really have any method to what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, anything that's attached to it, I'm just going to pull apart basically. And hopefully it all works out. See how we go. Very excited though, because I haven't had a car for such a long time. So it's going to be a lot of late nights in the shed after work. Because this is, it knows YouTube, this is like real life YouTube. Still working normal jobs, doing too many hours and stuff like that. And paying for everything myself. So it won't be the same as everyone else's that you probably see. But we'll get there hopefully. But I'm pretty bloody excited. First job in the shed too, so that's getting me excited. Clean it all out. I'm nervous, but it should hopefully work. Enough talking about it, I better grab some tools out. I'll pull it out and make coolant go everywhere basically, and then bring it back in. Like I said, I know there's a better way to do this, but I don't know how. I'm going to figure that out when the engine's out of the car and drain the rest out of the block. Sweet, let's get into it. Now because I've done this before, I know that this sucks, because I always get wet. It's annoying. I know with Adam's Stroopy, when he had to drain it all the time, the radiator actually had a drain plug in it, but this one does not, so I have to do stupid stuff like this. Get up before it gets me wet. My diff is going to be red now. I'll open the radiator cap to get it to drain out a bit better. There we go. That's plumbing. Alright, well this could be the last time this engine ever gets turned on. Potentially. Like I think maybe one day I would like to get it sent off and rebuilt and stuff like that. Maybe when the other one starts having problems. I'm not expecting the other one to run forever. But who knows? It might just work forever. I mean, it might be good, but it's a bit sad actually. This engine's caused a lot of pain, but it's sort of weird turning it on for the last time, but oh well. There it is. Just gotta make sure I got it in the right spot, otherwise it's gonna be annoying. I reckon that's probably a good amount of room everywhere. I'm making a mess still. We've got a bucket. I feel like it's just going to drain forever, that thing. It's just not stopping. I think I'm happy with it there. Because it's going to sit here for probably a month. Or something. Ah! What am I doing? I ain't no mechanic. I think that's a... I guess that's a good amount of room. The other one's going to sit over there. And then we have like a communal engine space. I guess. I don't know. I think we can work with that. I suppose I can still push it. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's fine. It's all fine. Everyone just, you relax, okay? It's not even stressful. Alright, so this is my pro mechanic novice tip. Something I learned last time we did the boat engine swap on the boat with Brad. Before you start anything you like this, anything that's got anything with electronics in it, pull the batteries out to start with, otherwise you're probably going to zap yourself or start throwing sparks everywhere. We made that mistake, not going to make it this time. So that's the first thing I'm doing. And then I think I'll unbolt the bonnet. I'll try and convince Sam to come out into the cold and give me a hand to lift it off. She is grumpy at me because I did forget to take the bins out before I started doing this. So it should be, hopefully she's happy enough to come out here and lift the bonnet off. And then I'm just going to start pulling things off. I think probably my first point of call is probably after that stuff, the intercooler piping, just because that's always in the way when I'm doing stuff. And then I'm going to try to pull the radiator out because I think that's going to be in the way. And then probably battery trays and stuff like that. And then I'll just go from there, really. But I think get the batteries, that, and the radiator, bonnet. I think that's a good start. So that's where I'm going to start, and then I'll figure it out from there. That's my game plan anyway. Look who made it into the shed.
Party starts today.
The party starts today. We've dropped the tyre pressures down. So the front of the car has probably come down like 100 mil at the moment, that's made it a lot easier to actually reach in. So next step is you have to hold the bonnet while I unbolt it. You're going to lift up and then you go backwards. Oh wait, I forgot stuff. Hold on to it. You got it? Oh. Shit. You got it?
Yeah, it's heavy.
This is stupid. Take the windscreen, watch the
Oh, that thing's a big head.
Go up here, stuff. Yeah. That's cool.
Ooh.
Well, actually, that is.
Next time. It won't be next time.
So, pull the airbox out, and then I was just taping that up because I didn't want anything to go in the turbo or anything. And then look at this. Loose. Goes straight on my fancy high flow turbo. That's sick. The things you learn when you work on your own car, hey? That's got to go back on better than that. When we put it all back together. That's the intercooler piping done. Tick that off the list. So I've gone to pull the radiator out, and I've done that before once, and I thought it was pretty easy. But I figured out there's bloody bolts in there that you have to get to from the front. I mean, you got to take all the headlights and all the grille out. That's just a stupid design. Come on, Toyota. You can do better than that. Come on. one of the good things about pulling your car apart. I can finally get this water out of this headlight from Cape York, so that's a plus. So you gotta pull the whole grille, all the headlight surrounds and the headlights out, just to get to this little bolt up in there, just to pull the radiator out. I know it's not hard, but I just feel like you could have just made that so much easier. Why isn't the bolt on the other side where you can just get to it without pulling the whole front of the car off? Be much easier. Lucky for me, pretty much half my bolts and screws don't exist in the front, so it's very simple to pull off. But stuff like that, you think it's gonna take you literally a second, and then there goes 5-10 minutes. And then if you break something, half an hour. Then if you're trying to fix it, 2 hours. This is why I don't like mechanic stuff. Well, here's something that's gonna annoy someone. Extension on extension with the silver socket. So it's not actually a proper impact socket, but that's how you get it done. Oh, I think I lost our first bolt. That fell through the car somewhere. And it did not hit the floor. Sick. Alright, so I'm pulling off the radiator hoses, and if you've watched some of my last videos, you would have noticed that we put some head gasket fix in it, just to try and see if it would fix it. Look at what it's done on the inside. I don't know how well you can see that. It's all brown. It's all this like gross golden sort of colour. So now that is through my engine, which is sick. Regrets. If it fixed it, I wouldn't have said regrets, but regrets now, because my radiator is going to have that all through it everywhere. And the radiator on the new one's stuffed, so I have to flush it a few times and hopefully it'll come out. Oh yeah. Sick. This is still full of water. So I just emptied the radiator on the ground. That's not even like liquid, that's just like sludge from that bloody gasket repair stuff. Still watery, but none of the rest of the water wasn't like that. That's just chilling down the bottom of the radiator. I don't know if that stuff's that good anymore. I don't think it would have clogged the radiator, but there's definitely some more like gooey sort of chunky bits down the bottom, that's for sure. But then again, if it does work for your car, you'd be stoked. If it doesn't work for your car, you're obviously not going to be stoked, like me. I'm starting to feel like I've pulled some stuff apart now. Like, it's starting to look a bit empty in here. I got to pull this out. That should actually just come out with one hand. Hopefully my new car has one of these, because it's got a bit of a dodgy repair on it. Seen better days. Well, that's going to do it for my first night. I've only done 2 hours. I'm probably not really going to get heaps of hours at a time on it, but so far it's coming apart fairly good. I think having a 30-year-old car that's pretty basic is definitely helping out here, but yeah, there's a lot of Cape York dirt down there. It's a lot dirtier than I thought it would be, but hopefully, I don't know. I reckon what's going to stuff me up is going to be the bolts that sort of connect the gearbox to the engine. That's probably going to be the hardest part to get undone, and then the motor mounts, but I'm hoping I can just get a rattle gun in there and just send it. But yeah, tomorrow's a new day, and we will be back. Alright, so we've been back. I've done about sort of an hour-ish, roughly, or whatever. So I've got the whole driver's side, everything apart from the exhaust and the motor mounts, like the underneath sort of thing. But every wire, hose, or whatever on this side, I'm pretty sure is free. And then coming on this side, this is a bit of a complicated side for me. Because my car, for some reason, has a lot of like random plugs, like there's heaps in the engine bay and stuff like that. Because it's been body swapped and stuff back in its past, so it's got the wiring for airbags but no airbags or something like that. I think that's how it works anyway. So there's just random wires in the loom that's in there, which is awesome. So my plan so far has been, I know you probably could just go and buy some coloured ones, but I didn't have any, and I'm trying to just do this sort of quickly without wasting another day. or the night after work. I have every wire that's come off the engine. I've got I had some zip ties and like a tiny bit of like line marking paint. So I've just spray painted the zip ties green, and any wire I take off this side of the engine is going to have a green zip tie around it, and I've used like long ones just so they're sort of more eye-catching, because there's earths and stuff like underneath the block you got to get to, like underneath the car, and there's a lot more wires than I first thought, but like up in there and all back in there, there's just like a whole bunch of random earths and stuff. So that's that part. Hopefully I don't break any plugs as well, because they're about 30 years old, so they're pretty brittle, but we'll see how we go. The next other problem I've got is I'm going to have to make a special tool for my intercooler piping, even though it's freaking sick. That bolt there, yeah, I'm just going to get an Allen key and cut it down, because I can't get the right size Allen key in there. So I've got to get the grinder out and just chop that. And then I'm hoping like having a little tiny short stubby Allen key will be enough to pull that off. Because I was going to leave it on to when the engine comes out, but I can't get my throttle cable out with that in there. And it has to come off anyway, so that's that. What else happened? Oh, on the way home, I stopped at Super Cheap Auto and picked up a engine crane. So that's cool. That's going to be handy. Well, you kind of need one, or use an excavator or whatever, but I think having an engine crane at home is going to be handy just for, when I get this parts car, like pulling the diffs out, sort of just so I can move them around the shed without having to have someone over. I can just pick stuff up, or the gearbox or whatever. Next thing that's sort of different from yesterday, all the bolts, Sam's been giving me a hand, so like that's for the bonnet, just chilling on the ground over there. Just sort of put every screw and bolt like labeled and stabbed into a bit of cardboard. So they're all living in this box. Like I got the aircon ones and stuff. So hopefully that makes it very easy to keep track of what I've pulled off. And I haven't really got much system for like parts. I've just got them put over there. And what else am I doing? Pretty much any hose I'm pulling off the engine that's like, I'm trying to pull it off the engine part and leave the long section in the car just so it's noticeable to put back on. And I'm pulling the hose clamps off and then pulling them down a bit, doing them back up, so they're still on every hose that's there. That's like that one right there. That's my plan, to try and not lose everything. And then with the parts car that's coming, I'm just going to put every single bolt I pull off in a box, and then I've got spare Toyota bolts and stuff like that. So far, I don't think I've lost anything, and I think everything's fairly organised, but taking a lot of photos, a lot of videos, talking to myself, trying to explain to myself where things go. That's going to be, I think pulling everything apart is going to be the easy part, but putting it back in is going to be very difficult. And yeah, that's about it. Aircon just stays to the side is the plan, so don't have to re-gas it or anything. And what else? Oh, I made a little bit of a mess with the power steering. That wasn't too bad. I used a syringe to like pull all the power steering out of there, but there's I don't know, when it comes off the actual pump down there, I pulled there's like a massive 24mm bolt on the top of it that holds the lines in. And obviously when I pulled that out, it's just gone all over the floor. But apart from that, we're looking pretty good. So I'm just gonna take my time tonight and try and concentrate and get all these wires out and organised without breaking anything. And then once that's done, that's everything on the passenger side out. And then we've got the big challenge of that sort of underneath stuff. So the bolts on the back of the turbo, the engine mounts, and the stuff that mounts to the gearbox, which I've never pulled any of those apart before. And I'm tipping they're going to be the harder bolts to get out. So I bought some WD-40, and the plan is probably drown, after tonight, probably just drown everything in it. And hopefully with it sitting in WD-40, it just sort of like works its way in there and then makes it a bit more loose. That's my plan. So far, so good. I only hit my hand once. There's a few swear words going on, but it's not too bad. All right, well, it was going pretty smooth. Made one boo-boo on the loom, which sucks, but it's just one little wire. It's like someone's done an old repair on it, and obviously when I pulled on it, it's stuffed up. Next problem is, I was a bit ahead of myself when I pulled the dump pipe off. That actually came off ridiculously easy. So, the benefits of having your car pulled apart 20,000 times. But this is my next problem, this is the one part of the whole job where I'm like, I don't know how the hell it works or anything. Getting the bolts out of the gearbox to the engine. This is like the one part of the whole job that I was sort of dreading because I didn't really know how to get it done, because there's a lot of bolts that hold the gearbox to the engine, that sort of area. I've got all the bolts off with a rattle gun that I could get, and like some with a socket where you can get a socket on, but I've found some dramas. Like if you're a mechanic, you'll be like, oh, you just do this, but I have no idea how you're supposed to get this off. I'm going to do YouTube a whole bunch of stuff right now. But the bolts are, if I can show you on this, I don't think you can really see. So, you're not going to be able to see. There's like, anyway. Yeah, well, you can't even see them with the camera. I can see them from here. Now that I've got some stuff out, I stood it in the engine bay before and could see a lot better. Pretty much, there is 2 bolts that I can see, like one about there, one over there. They're on top of the gearbox. I can't get a socket on it. I can't get a spanner on it because the body's in the way and the engine's in the way. And there's another one that I can see down this side. And I'm just assuming there could be another one on the other side where the starter motor is. But yeah, I got no idea how we get that undone. Probably gonna call that a night, I think, maybe. I don't know, I might set up my engine crane. I'm feeling still a little bit motivated, because literally all I have to do right now is get those bolts out somehow and do the engine mounts. And then the other thing that dawned on me, I'm gonna need to find myself like a chain or a sling or something to get this engine out. So that's tomorrow's mission in the daytime when shops are open. I might get this engine crane put together. I got a little bit more time before I need to go to bed. It's gonna be really hard to get out, obviously, but I'm sure there is definitely a way, because I've seen my car before without the engine in it with the gearbox still there. So that has to come out somehow. Time to get on the phone and do some YouTubing.